Hello everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining about constraints in SQL. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. To get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon. And please don't forget to like the video and please don't forget to share the video with your friends. So let me begin the explanation of constraints in SQL. So first of all, what is a constraint? Constraints are nothing but conditions that can be applied to the attributes on your table, and also you can apply the constraints or conditions to the data that is stored in your database. So in simple words, constraints are nothing but conditions, right? So if I say a constraint, they may include key constraint, referential integrity constraint, not null constraints, right? And you can specify constraints using check class also. So these are the different varieties. So I will explain these different varieties of constraints in detail now. So first, I will start with the attribute related constraints, right? So what is attribute related constraints? For example, SQL allows null values for the attribute values. You can use the null value to the attribute values where the value is not applicable. For example, for a student table, job attribute is not applicable because student is still studying, is not working. There, if you include the job attribute, it is not applicable to the student. That's why you can use null in the column job for a student table. SQL allows null as attribute values. If it is not applicable, you can use null. And also a constraint not null may be specified for the attribute if the null is not permitted for a particular attribute. For example, for a primary key, you can specify not null constraint. You are telling that primary key value should not be null. So you can tell that primary key value should not be null using a not null constraint, right? Hope you are understanding. And also for a attribute, you can define a default value. For example, for a primary key, you can specify a default value also. It is possible. Suppose if a user, right, forget to include the value for the primary key, suppose if a user forget to enter the value for the primary key, you can set a default value also. If a user forget to type a value, it will take the default value that is specified by the user. You can specify the default values also for the attribute that is visible, right? Next, so here you can take the example here. So you can see the default. Where is the default there? So default manager for a new department. Example of specifying a default manager for a new department and a default department for a new employee. You can see here for a new employee, default constraint is see here. So department number, what is the default value there? 1. If you create the new employee and if you forget to insert the department number for that particular employee, by default the department number will be set to 1 to the employee. So this is the default constraint. Hope you are understanding, right? And if no default class is specified, the default value is null for the attributes that don't have the not null constraint. If you not specified any default value, it will be null. It will be set to null. Hope you are understanding. If the default value is not specified, the values will be set to null. And also another type of constraints can restrict attribute or domain values using the check class. That means you can use a check class to restrict the values here. For example, see here. Suppose the department numbers are restricted to integer numbers between 1 and 20, then we can change the attribute declaration of a department number in the department table to the, for example, see here in the department table, right, I have a department number attribute, right. So here, right, the department number, see how it can be declared. Department number not null, check department number greater than 0 and department number lesser than 21. That means it is telling that department number should not be null. Also the department number should be within the range of 1 and 20. Suppose if you try to enter department number 22, it won't take. If you try to enter department number 0, it won't take. Your department number value should be within 0 and 21. I can specify that range using the check constraint. While inserting the values, it will check whether the department number is greater than 0 and it's lesser than 21. You can do that using a check constraint, right. You can see this diagram. Here you can see I used a not null constraint, and also I specified a default value for the department number of a particular employee, and also I am creating a constraint employee super, right. See, foreign key, this is the constraint name, constraint space constraint name. You are creating a constraint employee super foreign key. So you can see foreign key constraint I'm using. Also I'm using a on delete cascade, update cascade constraints. See here unique constraints I am using. So I will explain all those constraints now. See here. So the primary key class specify one or more attributes that can make up the primary key of a relation, right. For example, here you are specifying your primary key as SSN. You are telling that your SSN is your primary key. In department, you are telling that department number is your primary key. In department location, you are telling that department number comma department location is your primary key. If I say a primary key, I can use the combination of attributes also, that is possible. That is called as composite attributes. Here in a department location, you can see there my primary key is a set of two attributes, that is department number and department location. That is possible. So that's why I am telling you the primary key class specify one or more attributes that make up the primary key. That is possible. If more number of attributes are there, I can call it as a composite attribute, right. So here you have seen that the primary key keyword is used to specify primary key constraint. Next, the unique constraint, the unique class specify duplicate value should not be present. Duplicate value should not be present. For example, see department name. Department name should be unique. That means no department name should be repeated here. Each department name should be different from each other. So you can use unique constraint to tell the value should be different, and that means value should not be duplicated. Hope you are understanding, guys. Referential integrity, that means to relate the two tables, to relate the two rows of the different tables into a, right, to relate the two tables, you can use a foreign key constraints, right. For example, you can see you are using a foreign key constraints in the employee table. Here super SSN is a foreign key, right. That super SSN, here manager SSN is a foreign key. So manager SSN references the employee SSN. Hope you are understanding. Department number is a foreign key because department number is in the department table. The same department number is accessed by employee table also. That's why department number is a foreign key. Hope you are understanding. Foreign key is used to relate two tables. Here you can see that is department number is a foreign key because department number, same department number is of a department is used by the employee also. Here you are relating two tables, employee and the department. That's why foreign key is used to relate two tables. So after that, one more important thing, the default action the SQL takes for an integrity violation is to reject the update operation, right? For example, see, restrict operation I have used here, right? So restrict, why I am going to use it? Restrict, why I am going to use it means, if you do the update, if the update causes any problem, you can use restrict along with the update, right? You can see. So that's why if you use restrict option with the update, right? So it can what it does means it will remove the updated values. That's why you have to use restrict along with the update. Hope you are understanding. And also the other types of constraints are on delete cascade and on delete update, set null and set default. So on delete cascade means in a foreign key, if a foreign key is there in your table, for example department number, you have used on delete cascade, right? So here you can see, if you delete the department number in the department table, right, it won't allow you to do that because department number is a foreign key in employee. That's why if you want to delete the department number without any problem means you have to use on delete cascade. On delete cascade means what it does means, so even if the foreign key references are there, it won't consider that. It will delete the values that are present in all the other tables also. It will delete the values that is present in the employee table also. It will delete the values that are present in the department table also, even if the department number is a foreign key, no problem. If you use a on delete cascade, the value that is present in the department number is also deleted. Also the same department numbers that is used in the employee table also deleted, even if they are referenced also, if you use on delete cascade. On update cascade is also like that only, right? So if you update the value that is present in the one table, all the effects that means all the changes that took place in the one table will be reflected in all the other tables also. For you not to necessary to change the values on each and every table, no. If you change the value only once, all the changes will be reflected on all the other places also without any problem if you use on update cascade. So also you can use set default for a particular attribute. See, for example, here the default value is 888665555. You can use on delete set default. If you delete any value, right, it won't be null. If you delete any value, it won't be null. So you have already used the default value here, but automatically the default value will be set to the empty value. Hope you are understanding. On delete set default. If you delete any of the value department number, if you delete any value department number, by default that empty value will be set to this one. Hope you are understanding. That is also possible, right? So these are all the constraints, right, you can use. And also not null, set null. See here, set null is also another type. On delete, see, if you delete the super SSN, by default it will set it to null. Set null is also one type. So these are all the different types of constraints that come across in SQL, right? And one more important thing, giving names to the constraints. For example, you can create your own constraint by using a keyword constraint. Here in this example, see, you have created a constraint here, employee super FK. Employee super FK is the foreign key constraint you have created. So how you are going to create your own constraint means you have to use a constraint keyword. After the constraint keyword, you have to specify the name of the constraint, then you have to create your constraint. So You can create your own constraint using the constraint keyword followed by the constraint name. So here your constraint name is EMP SUPERFK. Hope you are understanding. You can create your own constraints, and also you can create the check constraints for the tuples. For example, see, while inserting the values to the department, create department date. See, in create table statement, see the department table to make sure that manager start date is later than the department creation date. The manager start date should be after the department creation only. After the department is created only, you are going to assign the manager, right? So manager start date can't be less than the manager start date, department start date. After the department is started only, your manager should be appointed. That's why, see, you are checking department create date should be lesser than or equal to manager start date. That is, in simple words, manager should be appointed after the department is created. So you can check like that. If you try to insert the value that is greater than the department start date, that is not possible. Your manager can't be present if a department is not created. First you have to create the department, then you have to assign the manager. You are checking that manager is assigned only after the department is created using the check constraint. Hope you are understanding, guys. So if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.